righty. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar. Really glad you had a chance to join us today. And we're going over the sixth webinar in this series on the Virtuous platform. Today, we're going to be talking about beyond the platform, all the things outside of Virtuous that nonprofits can benefit from. My name is Jeff Jacobs. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at Virtuous. And today I'm going to be joined again by David Cady, who's going to be talking through some of the things outside of the platform, some of the discovery process, some of the ways you can extend the platform to be even more effective. But to begin our time, I wanted to quickly go over our agenda for today. We're going to start with understanding your needs and how the Virtuous team works directly with you to customize a package that works for your needs, that solves your problems. And then we're going to talk about how we build a team that's dedicated to your success. And then again, like I mentioned, some of those things that are beyond the platform, some of the ways you can extend Virtuous to help you be even more effective. And as always, if you have any questions, go ahead and hit the Q&A button here in Zoom. Type those questions in and we'll make sure to answer those at the end of the presentation. And again, to start, we had talked about over the last 5 weeks how Virtuous was more than just a CRM. Virtuous is a platform. Yes, it's a CRM where you can store your donor data, their volunteer hours in the way they're advocating for your organization, as well as their gifts. But it goes so far beyond that. You can get donor signals to help drive insights on what makes each donor tick, and automation to improve efficiencies, but also to communicate with all of your donors personally at scale. A full suite of marketing tools, including email, direct mail, SMS, and campaign tools to manage and get a view into what's working and what needs improvement. And then a full giving suite that offers frictionless donation experiences for your donors. But I'm going to turn it over to David to talk about the start of the process in working with you to define success. David?
Thanks, Jeff, and welcome everybody. Yeah, just as a reminder, as Jeff mentioned, throw that Q&A in there. We'll get that at the end, but I want to paint a picture now of kind of how Virtuous looks at success. When you're thinking about changing a CRM or looking at technology platform, you're not doing it for fun, right? You usually have an end goal in mind. A lot of times it starts like this, right? Maybe donor retention is down. And so we need to figure out how to engage our donors more in the moment to keep them giving. Maybe we need to figure out how to get multi-channel communications going and reach donors on different channels, whether it's SMS or direct mail. We've got a new story to tell. And so usually there is a goal, and that's where we start at step one. So what I want to talk about now is how does Virtuous help you there? And we start with the end goal in mind. And that might sound a little silly, but when you buy a car, right, you don't buy a car and you're not excited about it sitting in your driveway, right? You buy a car because you're excited about maybe taking your family on a vacation, or you're going to grab a bunch of friends and go out 1 week, or maybe you've got a new truck because you're going to be moving some rock. And so you buy these for a purpose. The outcome, the end goal, the use is what is really in mind. So that's how we start every conversation at Virtuous. What is that outcome? Why are we here? It's not just to get a better looking CRM with fancier buttons and better looking colors. If that's all it is, right, that's not what Virtuous is here to do. And so the biggest question that I love to start our conversations with is what's going to make you high five in the hallway after you go live with the new CRM? Kind of a funny question, but I believe that is one of the most critical things we can answer. If you can't answer that question, it might not be quite yet time for the switch. When you flip the go live and flip on that switch in the new CRM, 30 days after, what is going to be making you high five in the hallway? That's our end goal. And so at Virtuous, we start with the end in mind. We figure out that outcome. What are we trying to change? How are we going to get there? What are we doing today? Have we thought about plans to do that? And really, as we demo Virtuous and get into the software, we're thinking about the end in mind at every step of the way. And why is this important? Not only does it help us make sure that when you see Virtuous, it's tailored and it's focused on your goals, but all of these conversations and all the things that we learn, this passes all the way through to our customer success team and our onboarding team and our support team, where you have all of Virtuous rallied around you to make sure that we're hitting that goal. So we'll talk now, really, we don't want to be just another vendor. We are a growth partner. Yes, Virtuous does have CRM and marketing tools, and we are a software company, but at the end of the day, we want to be shoulder to shoulder with you, solving big problems, making sure that you are absolutely high-fiving in the hallway. So we'll talk a little bit more about some other areas that we help contribute, but I just wanted to make sure that, that should be the expectation. When you're chatting with any software company, are they helping you understand what is that outcome? How are we going to get there? And let's create a plan to do it together. All right, Jeff, I'm going to kick it back.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I love that picture of the organization high-fiving in the hallway. What is that thing that's going to define success? And really, because we're your partner, one of the things I love is when we're celebrating internally at Virtuous, when we see one of the organizations on our platform that's on the news, or that's helping people affected by COVID, or that was able to distribute 1,000 meals to people in need. I love it when the team is sharing those things around the office, and we get to celebrate with the organizations that we serve. And like David talked about, success starts in the beginning, and not just in the sales process, but throughout that entire discovery, sales, and then all the onboarding. We have a customized success plan that every one of the organizations that we work with is given right on day one. And it covers everything from their data migration to what their goals are that they talked about in discovery. So the entire success team knows what the end goal is in place. That success plan also covers all of the onboarding and training, but even bigger than that, even showing you how the software works and how you can use it to your advantage. The change management aspects of switching systems is huge. You want to make sure that all of the things that are important to your organization, the reports, the visibility that your team needs, the visibility that your board needs, those critical internal processes that keep the organization running, that those continue to thrive and become even better on this platform. So we're working with you on the change management side as well. And that translates into Virtuous building an entire team that's dedicated to your success. Data migration experts are gonna come alongside you, look at your data in your legacy CRM and show you how that can be translated into the new system. And then they work on getting that data out and getting it into Virtuous. But beyond the migration, there's support and training experts. You'll have an assigned trainer here at Virtuous that's an expert, not only in the software, but in fundraising, and knows how nonprofits operate and what they need in order to not only do their job, but excel at it to make the world a better place. And then you'll have an assigned customer success coach that's going to be kind of your best friend moving forward once you're using the Virtuous platform. It's your main point of contact that you can get in touch with at any time if you've got questions, if you need guidance, if you need just a sounding board on how to make your experience in Virtuous better or help you solve critical problems that are holding you back. And that translates into your team as well. We help you define roles for this relationship between your organization and Virtuous. There will be an adoption champion, somebody that's in charge of communications and fundraising, and finance and back office operations. We want to make sure that you have the roles in place and we help you define those so you have the right decision makers on the bus throughout the process. Through the onboarding process, we're going to tailor our training plan according to your needs. Remember that end goal, that target that we have in place, that high five moment. We want to make sure that the training plan is acutely addressing those needs. You get 10 hours of live training. There's training available beyond that on an as needed ad hoc basis. We encourage you to have your entire team all on the appropriate trainings for their needs. There's specific topics that we go over in each training. You'll see that plan laid out clearly and who should be involved when and where. And that goes beyond just your team, but also to all of your partners, your vendors, your marketing partners, your direct mail vendors. All of them should have access and know the same things that you do about the platform. We have a Virtuous Academy that goes beyond just the training of the software and really can turn you into experts in the system. And the learning doesn't just stop there. Throughout the process, we want to emphasize continuous learning, which is why we've developed things like responsive fundraising playbooks that help you transform your communications, cultivation, and fundraising strategies that really show you how to be more responsive to your donors, to build better relationships, and get more advocacy, get more giving out of each and every donor. We host exclusive monthly webinars just for our customers, all built around the platform, new features that are coming out, and new ways that you can connect with your donors. And within the tool itself, we have best practice templates, whether that's email or direct mail letters that you can send out. We've got pre-built templates that are beautifully designed and ready for you to use. Automation workflows for different use cases, whether that's a new donor welcome series or a pre-lapse campaign, or donor journeys. We have best practice templates built into the system, so you're not starting from square one. And then there's ongoing success and support. We have in-app chat and email support available to all of our users, comprehensive documentation and video walkthroughs. So at any time, if you have a question, you have the resources right there in app to get those questions answered. And then quarterly reviews with your success coach. How are you doing in the system? Are you meeting your goals? Are there things that we need to change moving forward to make you, again, more efficient and more successful? And I just love this quote. When this came through, everyone on the Virtuous team was giving a high five. It says, outstanding customer service. In 30 years of fundraising leadership, I have never seen this level of service from a technology partner. And that's what we strive for every day throughout the process and even after you're onboarded. We want to be your partner and delight you and give you the best service that you've seen in a technology partner. Now, David, I was hoping you could kind of jump back in and talk through ways that users can extend the platform to some of the other systems that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to do that. We'll just have 2 more slides here, and then we're actually going to pop into Virtuous, look at a few different documents and areas that will help cover this. So first idea, right, is Virtuous is constantly building and expanding our native integrations with partners and technology companies across a lot of different verticals. So whether it's accounting systems, other online fundraising tools, email marketing, payment processors, your Gmail, your Outlook, Google Maps, we want to make sure that Virtuous is always an open system. that we play nice with others, that we let you pick the best of breed tools that will always solve the job at hand. And Virtuous will make that and keep that commitment that we are not going to be a closed off monolithic system where we try to do everything and all ourselves. We'd love to work with others and love you to have a chance to pick the best tools for the job. So Virtuous is constantly building native integrations out of the box that are working, but we also give you other extensibility like tools such as Zapier and our API. So we'll actually poke around and take a look here in just a second, but Zapier is a great way to plug and play with thousands of other software applications. And then if you want exacting integrations down to your detailed specifications, Virtuous has a free and open API to be able to extend Virtuous, push and pull data, and do whatever you'd like to the Virtuous platform. So Jeff, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen now and we will get into a couple things here, and then we'll actually we'll go to Q&A. So just to show you a few live things today, we do want to express kind of the network, the ecosystem, and everything else that's around Virtuous. So if you're curious to look more at the product, we had 5 weeks of webinars where we went a little bit more detailed into every single area of Virtuous. But right now we're going to look at a few different things. So one, I wanted to show how you can get in touch with Virtuous right within the application. So our team is right available here to start conversations and begin immediate support right through the app. You're going to have access here to look at all of our support articles directly within Virtuous. So you can start a conversation. You can look for specific info on like, how do I create that personalized email template in Virtuous? We're going to have videos, photos, documentation, everything within the app. So support is right within your fingertips. One of the other things I wanted to show is you'll notice up here, this actually changes month to month, kind of quarter to quarter. And based on where we're at the year, Virtuous will start to just suggest other ideas, whether it's tips for writing year-end appeals, email templates. We want to provide resources that go beyond Virtuous to give you the best, be able to put your best foot forward. And so when COVID hit, when Giving Tuesday, these all changed to give you resources and access to community to be able to solve problems. All right, so API, we mentioned Virtuous being very extensible. And so if you're a kind of a tech head and you like API, you're gonna love taking a look at this. Virtuous, every single field, every single object, I can extend and do whatever I need here with the Virtuous API. We talked about Zapier. And so Virtuous is connected up into Zapier. And so let's say, for example, maybe you've got like an e-commerce shop and you want to connect up to Shopify. Awesome. Come into Zapier, easy to connect. You tell Zapier when you want things to be triggered and what you want to happen in Virtuous. Super easy there. So very easy to extend, whether you use Zapier and point and click type integrations, an API and custom build them yourself to your exact specifications, or use the dozens and dozens of native integrations that Virtuous has out of the box. Speaking of we're talking about support and training, I wanted to point out, Jeff mentioned things like customer webinars where we are focused on the proactive side. So yes, we've got a lot of support documentation to figure out how to use Virtuous, but we also want to provide proactive training that blends Virtuous product knowledge, fundraising expertise, all together to give you an idea of like not only how to use Virtuous the best, but proactive good ideas to actually start using. So at the end of December here, right, a lot of folks were doing gift processing and receipting. So we wanted to make sure we did that effectively. I wanted to now point out the Virtuous Success Plan. And so this is the document that we provide to help you get an understanding of what that onboarding process is going to look like. Now, yes, part of this process is moving your data. Moving data is incredibly important. We want to make sure it's right, it's mapped correctly. But if you think about just other things in your life, right? When you buy a house, it's fun to buy a house, but what's the most stressful part? Moving, piling the kids in the car, trekking cross country, hoping nothing breaks. Buying the house is the fun part, but it's the moving. And so we really focus on that change, right? When we're moving systems, it's not just creating another tool. It's giving you new processes, new ways to do things. And sometimes, right, folks don't like change as much. And so what Virtuous does is, I'm going to scroll down here. We really focus around organizational change. And there are 5 big key elements that are really helpful when you're thinking about organizational change. First, you need to have a vision. Why are we doing this? What is going to be the end goal? And so Virtuous helps identify what is that vision. Let's keep that as our North Star. Skills. We need to make sure that the team is prepared and ready and trained. So we focus on skills and making sure that you are armed with everything you need. Incentives. What's in it for us, right? We want to make sure that we know, hey, when we're going through this change, what are we going to be able to do on the outset, right? We're going to be able to get 2 hours back in our day. We're going to be able to see that retention go up. So aligning to incentives. Resources, making sure you have documentation, a team, access to resources, and of course, an action plan. And so when we think about your onboarding, we'll create plans that look like this. Well, we're going to align vision, skills, incentives, resources, and that plan to every single one of our calls, and make sure that when we do our kickoff call, the first call you have with Virtuous, one of the big goals is making sure that vision is solidified. And so we really think about this because we know that is one of the most critical elements. It's not just moving the ones and zeros from one system to the next. It's helping you with change. Okay. And lastly, I wanted to just point out a few areas of our website. Jeff had mentioned we really champion this idea called responsive fundraising. And so if you want to learn more from Virtuous and other thought leaders around what responsive fundraising is, I'd encourage you to come on over here, sign up for the Responsive Weekly. This is actually a weekly 30-minute call. This is not a software call. This is not a technology call. The whole goal here is we're going to get nonprofit leaders, practitioners, and people who are doing the work to have a conversation, brainstorm ideas, talk about the most pressing topics and how we can use the lens of responsive fundraising to make sure that we are giving donors our best. So I encourage you, come here. This is a community. This is a community we're building around responsive fundraising. And of course, if you're curious more, responsive fundraising, it's bigger than Virtuous. It's an idea of how we treat all donors like major donors. Virtuous is championing this book, Responsive Fundraising. So again, we truly want to be a partner, not just a technology tool. That is one aspect of what we want to do. We want to be here with you for the long haul, shoulder to shoulder, providing people, a plan, yes, and a product to make sure that you can be successful. All right, so Jeff, I'm going to hand it back to you. We've got a little bit of a shorter call today. I'd encourage you, though, to go back, check out some of those previous webinars if you want some more deep product overview. But Jeff, we can hand it back and do some Q&A now.
Yeah, thank you, David. And talking about the change management that you mentioned a moment ago, do you have any examples of, say, a customer that's particularly handled that well, and why they were so successful in their transition from one system to another?
Yeah, I do. That's a great question. And I've got one good example of a customer. They had been on a legacy system for about 15 years. And it was, that's a long time. You get used to how things are. And so one thing that they did that we found out later is they actually created, they called it a contract, but everyone who was involved from fundraising and marketing to operations and IT signed this, basically saying, here is our vision and this is our why. These are the things that we need to make sure we keep focused on. This is going to be hard. It's going to, right? We're going to have people that don't like change, but we are committed to the bigger outcome. And so they actually had an early team meeting to say, let's set that why, let's figure out our vision, and let's agree to support each other through this and make sure that we keep the main thing the main thing. So we found that out, and that was actually really neat that they did that, because again, when we have that vision and we make sure that we focus on those areas of change management, success will happen. And so I think just knowing that and saying it out loud, being able to define what that success is and agreeing that that is what we're going after, is a really helpful thing to be able to get through that change.
Yeah, and change is just difficult. We're naturally averse to change. We like things that are familiar, and so I love the way they did that internally. Beyond that, there's times where some organizations have one team that is sold out and really excited about a change or a move over to Virtuous, while other teams internally are maybe a little bit more hesitant. What advice would you give uh, organizations that are maybe thinking about a change and want to get their team bought in to um, the benefits, the high five moment, the vision for the change? What would you recommend that they do there?
Yeah, so I think ultimately it comes down to, again, the why. Virtuous is wanting to put the donor at the center of everything we do, and I truly believe that it starts with the mission statement and a top down approach within an organization to make sure that vision is created and stated, and we understand why we're changing. And then creating, again, incentives and resources around that. So the folks who are maybe a little bit more hesitant know and can see that path, making it clear and giving them a good reason for that change. And ideally, that is centered around loving our donors better, reaching them and communicating them better, being shoulder to shoulder with them.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for that. And it doesn't look like any other questions have come through. So we're going to be able to create a little time for everyone today. Give everyone a little bit of time back, a little shorter webinar, but really helpful nonetheless. And again, I want to thank everyone for carving out the time today to join us. We really appreciate you coming on and learning more about Virtuous and the platform and all the things that go beyond Virtuous that really help make you successful. We talked about that customized discovery and demo process earlier. If you'd like that for your organization, we'd encourage you to go to virtuous.org, click on that schedule a demo button. That'll connect you with a nonprofit success expert on our team, and they'll do that assessment for you and show you how Virtuous can solve the specific problems that you're facing. And again, if you've missed any of the webinars in this series where we've done a deeper dive in the platform, we'd encourage you to go to virtuous.org/demo/live, and you'll be able to get all of those webinars there and watch them on demand on your time. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of the week.